Hi, welcome to Friends of Truth. My name's Ben, and here we are in Victoria. It's a beautiful day. Now for a little bit of a walk. I thought it'd be fun to do a summation of the really important questions that everyone really needs to know the answer to, or at least question, at least be open to thinking about in 2020. It's brought up many important issues for us all. So I came up with the 5 questions everyone must ask in 2020. And the first one is, does the media lie? It's a pretty easy answer for a lot of people. Yes, definitely. But then again, we're brought up and we trust the media so much. One of the experiences I had when I was a bit younger was when I was an actor, a television actor, and I'd worked on soap operas and things, and I got to go over to England, and at the time the show was really popular. I was on a show called Neighbours, and I went on a show called Celebrity Squares, and with Bob Monkhouse, and I knew that drama was scripted, but I was really surprised when I went on this show because it seemed so impromptu, you know, and off the cuff. And they gave me a script, you know, just for your little sort of jokes that are supposed to be, you know, made up on the spot. And I was really surprised, but I learned something then, that pretty much everything that's on television is scripted. You know, in the news they have an auto cue, obviously, they have earpieces, so all these, you know, they're told what questions to ask, they're told how to respond if they didn't respond in the right way. These people are just, you know, human puppets basically for the machine that owns them, and we know now that there's 6 main companies that own all the media in the world. So those 6 main companies have a lot of power, and so much power, and as George Orwell said, absolute power corrupts absolutely. So the chances that the media are telling us an objective truth are pretty slim, in my opinion. But anyway, it's a question to ask, and maybe you want to do some research. There's a video which I'll link at the bottom of this, which shows a really good example of how the media is so scripted, and it's well worth checking out. The second question that everyone must ask in 2020 is, does COVID-19 exist? What? You can't even ask that question. Of course it exists, right? Well, maybe it doesn't. There's at least 2 doctors, actually I think there's hundreds, I think there's thousands of doctors who say that it doesn't exist because it's never been isolated. And if it's never been isolated, they've only found fragments of genetic material that they think is COVID-19. COVID-19 is the name that the CDC gave the SARS-CoV-2 virus, and so it's just, they've just christened something and marketed something as this immensely infectious, which is not, or contagious disease. Now, there's a lot of people that wouldn't even entertain the question that it can't be real, because we've sacrificed so much, we've been forced to, by our governments, sacrifice so much. So that's why it's a hard question for people to ask, but it is worth asking, and we've got links here to a couple of doctors who have proof why they think it doesn't exist. And there's heaps more out there too, which I'm sure you can find. The third question that everyone must ask in 2020 is, does the medical industry put profit over health? Again, there's a video here with someone who used to work for Big Pharma, and she says absolutely they do. I think the clue to the answer to that question is the medical industry. It's in the name. It's an industry and it's medicine. They have to administer medicine. Their whole paradigm is based on sickness and giving something for that sickness. It's not based on health and facilitating health. It's not based on enabling people to take charge of their own lives by their diet and exercise, and by taking care of themselves, maybe their environment, maybe getting away from pollution, whether that is whatever sort of pollution that is. Fourth question, do vaccines injure and kill people every day? Well, some people will say yes, definitely. Those people that were paid out for some of the $4 billion has been paid out in America, despite not by the pharmaceutical companies, because they're protected by something that was set up in 1986. I think it's called the 1986 Act, and there's a good movie about that. Other people will say no, they'll just deny it because I think those people, it's too hard a question to face. And some people will say that vaccines might injure people and they might kill people, but it's just necessary. It's a fact of life and we have to put up with it. That's not my viewpoint, but it's definitely a question that if you haven't looked into, it's really well worth it, especially with the talk of more vaccines being made. I don't even want to use the word mandatory, but you know, they are talking about that, and so getting educated before we face the needle is probably a really good idea if we've never asked any questions about that. And the fifth question that everyone must ask in 2020 is, are you who you think you are? Well, of course I am. I'm me. I'm Ben. I'm Ben Mitchell. Or am I just Ben? Or am I a living man walking the earth? Or am I a person? Am I a corporation? Am I a legal fiction? Am I a dead entity? What's all this talk? This guy's gone crazy. He's crazy. He's just a man. But the point is, those definitions are really important, and they're coming to light for a lot of people, myself included, this year when I learnt the concept of a straw man. And the straw man concept is that after we're born, there's an entity that is assigned to us by the government. That entity is our straw man. It's a way for the corporation of governments to interact with us. That's why when the police stop you, they always want to know your name. They always want to identify you with your driver's license, because your driver's license identifies this straw man, this legal fiction. If you'll notice on your driver's license and your birth certificate, it's all capitals. And that's not English, right? You were never taught in school to write your name in all capitals. Is that significant? Well, that would be maybe question 5B. Here's a stick again. Question 5B. Is it significant that my name is in all capitals on my license and my birth certificate? From what I've learned so far this year, it's very significant, and it could be a big reason why we're facing a lot of the turmoil we are, because it's related to common law and the awakening of people, that basically the idea that when we're born perfect, and we're born with the right of this world. Imagine this: you're born into a place and you naturally inherit the wealth, your percentage, let's say, of wealth of that area. So the gold, the silver, everything, because you're born there. And that's sort of the idea. And the idea is that the government trick us into giving up that right of our natural birth right, and they administer it for us, and they charge us for the privilege throughout our life. Anyway, it's worth looking into, and I've got some links which I'll put down below again for that as well. Some great videos for some people who are doing some amazing work. So there you go, there's 5 questions everyone must ask in 2020. You must! Well, you don't have to, you can just cruise along, watch the news and wait for whatever's next. But I reckon if you learn a little bit, you feel really empowered, and it can make your life so much better. I hope it makes your life better, asking those questions and maybe getting some answers. Till next time, see you.